Tiger Woods, birdie in 3 of the last 4. It's fun to see all the off-the-course drama. And I told you, I only cared about it if it was relevant to how he played. Obviously, it was. Obviously, it has been. It's affected him. And this is a guy who had tunnel vision. He had blinders on. He was able to go out there and play. But we saw all the off-the-course stuff, the drama, the divorce. It affected him. Now, the people that he was sleeping with or affairs with or any of that stuff, to me, it didn't matter. It was how all of this was actually affecting him. And going through swing coaches and Hank Haney writing a book, and now Sean Foley is his swing coach. I think it came back to what David Feherty said. And David said it a couple of weeks ago. All he has to do is go out there and have fun again. And I think the more Tiger has thought, the worse he's gotten. And you saw some fun, but I think you also saw that that kind of look that he has where it was all business yesterday. I don't think he's back because I don't think back means, 2000, but I think he played great. He won that tournament. David Feherty was there to see all the shots that Tiger made over the weekend. David, how are you?
I'm doing great, Danny, and I feel like I just met up with an old friend I haven't seen for 3 years. I'll tell you, and it was something special to watch.
But you're seeing somebody, and what I loved about this is he won the tournament. You didn't have guys who were necessarily fell to the wayside as much as he said, I'm going to put up some numbers, you're going to hear some roars, and then I think that they started to play a little differently. But Tiger, that was old Tiger because he went out and he won a tournament. Nobody handed it to him.
Yeah, what you saw, I felt was just flashbacks. And, people ask me all the time, do I think, he can get back to where he was? Well, I think it's unlikely that he'll get back, but then I think it's unlikely that anyone will get there in the next 200 years.
Oh, sure.
It's unreasonable to think anybody could go back to that standard. But the shots that he hit and the timing of them and his reaction to them just made, thinking about it now makes every hair stand up in my body. And that's the Tiger I remember. It's the Tiger I miss.
I also think it's hard to say what translates from 1 week to another or this week to 2 weeks from now because Olympic is different than Muirfield. But, Muirfield, that whole feel of it, and it's Jack's tournament, and, people raise their game a little bit here. But how do you look at what you saw yesterday or over the weekend with just how it'll play, Tiger will play at the course for the U.S. Open?
Obviously it's conjecture, but I had a feeling yesterday, I said it the day before, that it's been such a long and painful struggle for him, over the last 2 or 3 years, and he's been close on occasions, and he's won, but it hasn't really been the win that he's looking for or the way that he's wanted to win. Yesterday, that was it. That was the one that might well get him over the hump because that it fired him up to that level of adrenaline and self-control, which is a strange mixture, that he has. It's like a car with, the gas in it that you can hit from time to time. I can't remember the name of the gas. I think they give it to you to put you to sleep at the dentist as well.
Nitrous oxide?
That's it, nitrous.
Okay.
You could see that nitrous kicking in, and, he was going to put his foot down and just not just win yesterday, but win by stamping on people. And I think it's inevitable. He'll not just win again, he'll win by 10 again. Because people have forgotten what it's like when he plays well. He didn't play particularly well last week. He played okay by his standards. But when he plays well, it's, the others are in his rearview mirror.
Well, what I saw, and I did when I'm watching yesterday, reflect back on what you told us a couple of weeks ago. I don't think he was thinking as much as he normally does with that silly practice swing over and over and over. I just think he got up there and said, I'm freaking Tiger Woods, swing the club and go out there and hit some shots.
Well, I'm not sure he was thinking that way, but it's certainly the way that he played.
Yeah.
I didn't see Sean all week, and he looked like he was making a comfortable follow through and not worrying about what went before it. And that's a key for any golfer, no matter what standard you are. If you can make a comfortable follow through and see where the ball goes, well then all you have to do is learn where to aim it.
He's David Feherty from CBS, also the Golf Channel. You can see his show 10 o'clock tonight on the Golf Channel, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. The shot on 16, I know Jack said, given the circumstances, greatest shot he's seen. I have to believe that he was talking about the Memorial because there have been far greater shots with far more implications than that.
Well, I don't know, Dan.
This was for the Memorial, David.
No. I mean, I've seen so many of his great shots. I'll tell you, it wasn't possible. It was barely possible to get it to the hole. You had to be extremely lucky and maybe land it in the rough. To land it on the green with the shot the swing that he was making. You have to remember there was bony underneath. Really hard the ground. So any kind of miscontact is going to the ball's going to fly in the water. To hit that shot at that time, was one of the great feats of golf, certainly, that I've ever seen.
But if he loses Memorial, okay, it's one thing. If he doesn't win Augusta with a chip in at 16, Jack's putt, when he won at 46 at Augusta, those are far bigger putts.
Yeah.
The risk and the reward.
In terms of the moment, yeah, in terms of the moment, I think they're bigger putts. Are they a greater, physical and mental accomplishment? I'm not sure. Because you got to remember what this meant to Tiger. I have a feeling that he knew that this was the one that was going to get him over the hump, or at least he has that feeling.
Now, I'll give you that, though, David. The importance of this shot for him as he moves forward, it could be as important as any shot he's ever hit. I will agree with you on that. But as far as degree of difficulty, implications, what was at stake, I can't put it up there as the greatest shot. That, with all due respect to Jack, I'll say the Memorial, but not outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I would agree with you. Degree of difficulty, absolutely. Maybe the toughest shot he's ever faced. But, with what was at stake, yeah. You have a point.
Rory McIlroy, what happened to him?
That's a good question. Oh, he's gone off the reservation.
Is he in love? Is that the problem here?
Well, he's 23. I mean, is anybody in love at 23? I know what they're in.
Oh, I was in love.
You were? Oh, well, so was I, for that matter. But, it didn't turn out quite the way I planned. I don't know what the story is there, but, we've seen his character before. He's come back from a lot worse things than what he's going through right now. That's for sure. So I would expect him to start as one of the favorites, the U.S. Open.
People upset with Phil Mickelson that he pulls out. Mental fatigue there to go back for his...
Mental fatigue. I'm a little worried, about... I mean, I hope everything's okay at home with Amy, and, that... Because it takes more than that to ruffle Phil's feathers. I know he's fed up, and, with... a lot of the things that are going on out there on the golf course. I mean, they've sort of loosened the camera rules for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it seems to me that there was more going on. My greatest wish is that everything's okay at home, and he'll be back at the U.S. Open, and everybody's fine.
What do you mean by the camera? That they're allowing everybody to bring in their camera phones?
Yeah, I mean, people have camera phones all over the place, and I have the problem as well, where people say, I want a photograph, of you, and I don't really understand why they want me in it, but and sometimes they flash, sometimes they don't, and you don't want to be a jerk and say no, but it is kind of against policy, and it's a gray area at the minute.
Well, and I know Tiger gets upset, people yelling, people taking pictures. I get it. But back to Phil, and that's why I said to people, you got to be very careful if you're going to criticize him for leaving and saying, mental fatigue, given, what he's been going through with his wife, if anything, with Amy is up. You hate to have that come back and bite you where somebody says, mental fatigue. Come on, Phil.
Yeah, really. Nothing will fatigue you mentally like that. When you get trouble at home, and nobody knows what he's been through at home. It's been an amazing performance, I think, over the last few years from him, considering what his mother and his wife have been through, and his kids. It's you got to have some kind of a mind, and we know that he does. He's out there. He's some kind of a savant, and he's not an idiot.
Okay, here's the question. I might as well ask you now instead of in 2 weeks. I give you Tiger of the Field at the U.S. Open. Who you got?
Man, that's a tough one because I had Luke Donald, before this week. I really liked Luke Donald. The way he plays, the way Olympic is probably going to set up. He should be a great U.S. Open player. I would put them neck and neck at the minute. If you gave me Luke Donald and Tiger, I would take them.
All right, I'll do that. For dinner, I'll give you Luke Donald and Tiger. You get your two picks, your two faves. I get everybody else.
Fair enough.
All right, buddy. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Danny.
All right, David Feherty. You can see his show tonight at 10 Eastern on the Golf Channel. Probably won't even cross paths with Feherty to get dinner or pay dinner, but sounded good on the radio.